Hello. In today's video, I just wanted to show just a couple little things, and just kind of as I finish up really this second Kurt Busch car, put the finishing touches on here, and start sealing this car. You can see I've already cut out the decals for the Jeremiah weed that I'm working. That'll be the next one that I decal. And so we'll do a little cleanup on this and a few other things. So I've put 2 coats of Tester's dull coat on this Kurt Busch 2019 Monster Energy 164 Custom, and as you can see, it's looking pretty sharp. There's a tiny little fuzzy on the roof that's now embedded. It must have been in my brush. It's just super small and tiny, so it's going to be less than perfect there. But I don't know if you can see that in the glare right in front of the one there. But those are the things I kind of look for. But once they get stuck in there, especially in this dull coat, there's no getting it out. And taking it out would be too much damage, probably damage the paint, and then you're just ruining the vehicle at that point, or the car at that point. But this is looking really good. The underside's looking good. It's together well. I did want to show you though, I've got the sealer open. I got a little bit of the dull coat on this back window, right up here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this gloss sealer and I'm going to kind of touch that up. And it's not going to be, again, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to get the dull finish off of that window. And or at least the obvious dull finish on there to still be there, but it's just going to be covered up now. And I want to do this really carefully, because one thing I've learned with the dull coat is you do not want to do any touch up with the dull coat. You can't do this like I'm doing with this sealer. You can't do this with the dull coat. You have to do basically the whole large area, or you'll see in the dull coat finish, you'll see where you tried to touch it up. It's too obvious, and so you really need to do the whole car when you're doing the dull coat, and you kind of want to do it quickly because it dries quickly. So inevitably, you get a little bit on the surfaces. I see a little bit here on the windshield. And while I'm here, I might as well just go over this one more time. So what's great about this sealer is you can just layer it and layer it and layer it. You can do this kind of touch up, and it just really turns out nice. So I can see it's still, the dull coat's still a little bit there, but it's hardly noticeable at all. And I'm wearing, I don't even know what kind of glasses these are, but they're very strong for my, I'm farsighted, and so I lack nearsightedness, so it's a little thick. Let me try to absorb some of that. And again, I don't want to get any of this on the roof where it's dull. Just want to keep it on the windshield there, in this windshield banner. When this dries, this is ready to go in the box. Yeah. So you can see this is a nice finished product. I like to say in my auctions on eBay, I do not think you will be disappointed with this car. And so yeah, that's what she looks like. Okay, so I'll set this aside. We'll move on to the next one. Again, we're just kind of going to do some cleanup here. I did want to finish showing you this. So if you remember from yesterday's video, this decal had stretched up on top of the glass here, or glass, this plastic window. And so once it all dried, I took my X-Acto knife and you know, the decal at this point is suspended between this metal body and a little bit on here in this plastic. And so I just gently, ever so gently, actually I think I started here, I gently cut it, and it doesn't really cut, it kind of cracks. It kind of cracks, and so you have to be super careful. And I cut it along here and a little bit up here, and as you can see, it turned out pretty good. Turned out pretty good. And so I'm in the process of putting some sealer on here. This is, I think, my second coat of sealer. I'll kind of do this a little quickly. I obviously, as I'm talking and working and kind of explaining what I'm doing with the customs, it slows me down from my normal speed. But you know, it's not always a bad thing. You know, sometimes in life we need to slow down. Years ago, a pastor once said that I had, Satan rushes us while God leads us. And I like that. I've always liked that. Whenever you feel like you're rushed, that's usually not God rushing you. It's usually his adversary, who is also our adversary. He tries to rush us into making bad decisions and doing things quickly, and you know, without thinking of the consequences of those decisions. And we would be wise to, you know, plan and think things through before we just jump into something. Who would have thought making 164 custom NASCAR cars could also could also teach us life lessons. I have fun with my hobby, as you can tell. I enjoy it, and just enjoy doing it and working on it, making little things that are one of a kind. So this is the second coat I'm putting on here. What I'm deciding I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this bottom here black, and these black side skirts, but I want to get a couple coats of sealer on it. And I'm also going to touch up the spoiler. I put the roof lines on there with the Sharpie, and I'll probably put another line on there after this dries, just to make that a little bit thicker and darker. And then a couple more coats of sealer, and that will be done. That was a custom request. So this one's coming out good. This is the 2010 Crown Royal purple car. As you can see, I moved the camera a little bit closer for maybe a little bit better close-up shots of this. But this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I added this little black decal here in the grill. I'm trying to, I think what happened was the grill decal that came with this was too big, and when I went to cut it and trim it to size, I didn't trim it right, so I just chucked it and I got another one. So I've added that in. That doesn't have any sealer on it, while the rest of the car has a couple, 3 coats of sealer. So you know, that happens. Sometimes you have to do that. Try to make sure when I put the sealer on, I get all the surfaces. So I'm trying to get underneath here, and you know, in and around there. I don't know, just trying to be thorough with it at the end of the day. So that's that. But this is I'm pretty happy with this, how this is coming out. It's turning out really well. My plan is, if all goes well tonight's Thursday, I'll list it tonight as a no reserve auction. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. I get custom requests, and I don't know. I try to do my best to kind of have a first in, first out policy, but it's hard. I have to order the decals if I don't have them, and that can take 3-4 weeks now from Australia coming in. Pato only ships on his Thursday, so so yeah, and so I try to work 5-6 cars at the same time. I try to make them here and there for the custom requests, as well as I try to make a few that I'm going to sell on eBay that I think people would be interested in. So if you're watching this video and you've put in a custom request, I mean, I will get to it. It may take me a while, unfortunately, because I have other people that have requested cars before you did, and also, like I said, actually in probably most cases I have to order the decals, and just trying to meet people's timelines and things like that. And obviously, I'm asking you to be patient with me and in fulfilling your requests. I'm trying again to make the best custom that I possibly can. And this camera's not going to get this as I flip this over and do this side. But yeah, so I've always tried to do that with people asking for cars and things like that. I make, sometimes my thumb hits this little corner when I'm sealing it right here, and I have to go back over it. I make a couple cars a week, maybe 3. So I got that one. That one's done. Yeah, so I make 2 or 3 cars a week at the end of the day. And, so if you've asked for, 20 cars, it's going to be a while. It just is. I'm going to make them in groups. Just because I have other people that want cars too. So, I wanted to show you something on this Jeremiah weed. You can see this. So, stripped the car, primed and painted primed and painted the car. This was one that that needed to be primed. Put the car all back together. And sometimes when you do that, and I can see my fingernails, I don't know if you can see, they're getting a little long. I need to trim these especially. I need to cut them, because what will happen is my fingernails will sometimes chip the paint on these cars if I get it a little too thick. But this looks pretty good. Put it back together. I'm going to need to paint these side skirts. Actually, before I do that, I want to double check. I want to look at the picture of the weed car, Jeremiah weed car, and make sure I've got it right. This decal goes on here. I think, yeah, I'm almost positive that this is a black, so I'll paint that black here later today. But when you're putting it back together, sometimes this will chip the paint. Everything's good here. Looks good here. There's no chip there. Back window looks good. Front window, sometimes it'll chip here on the sides. Especially if I have to prime it and then use the top coat. The ones that have the paint and primer in it, usually it's just 1, 2 coats and that's it. But sometimes if I have to prime it, it gets a little thick. So as you can see, I've got a scuff here. Maybe you can't see. got a little scuff here of the paint, and right here, right there, it's chipped right there. So before I decal, I need to fix that. I need to touch that up. And you know, when I say fix, it's not going to be perfect. I'd have to disassemble the car, and it would be a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some paint. I'm going to try to touch that up, and I'll show you how I do that. So this is the marigold paint. I'm going to spray it. Spray it on here. Probably on this side because this is kind of covered. So I just kind of hold it over here. See, just get a little bit on there. Up. All right. So now I'll try to show you this and do it. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife. I'm not going to use a brush because it's really tough to get in here with a blade, with a brush, and not get it on this plastic windshield. So I'm just gonna try to hold this still here. Mix it up a little bit. And I'm just gonna. My hand's a little shaky for some reason. I did have a cup of tea. I'm a tea person, not so much of a coffee person. But yeah, I'm getting it on just a little bit on the. Well, actually, no, I didn't. I was touching it, but I must not have gotten it on there. You can see ever so slightly what that looks like. And so I'm trying to hide the chip. That's what I'm doing. And the decal will cover this area a little bit, but not very much. I'm gonna have to pull it back because my hand is not. I need to rest it on the arm of the chair. Of my chair as I do this because. And I apologize for that. Trying to show what I'm doing here. Okay. So that's that cleanup work. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. The buyer of this car is gonna probably have to watch this video and see what I did in order to find that little problem. And now I'm gonna do the same. Just a little touch up right here. Decal might cover that up, but so I'm just getting some paint so it's not too noticeable. The paint dries pretty quickly, and you know, this isn't the best application obviously, but it works for just the smallest spots. I'm gonna wet my finger, touch it there. Yeah, so after, what was it, like 2 minutes, the paint really becomes tacky, and you can't work it anymore, so you kind of have to work quickly when you do that kind of thing, spray it onto a plate and do it. So so this is covered now, and that's touched up. Is it perfect? No. But you're going to be hard pressed to find that when you get the car in your hand and look it over, which I think my customers do, but I don't know. Maybe they just put it into their collection and admire it still while it's in the box. So that's all I wanted to show you today. Not really able to spend a whole lot of time on my hobby today. But that's what's going on. I've got to do this car, the 2012 pink EcoBoost. I still have to paint the gray on the back of this GameStop. I gotta try to color match that gray from the decal set, like I mentioned in my other videos. I've got some Ryan Blaney requests that I need to work on. So those are in the next batch, just kind of setting them up with the car and all that. I don't think I showed you this. I'm going to show you this. So as you can see, I've got this particular paint scheme to do. It's a 2018. It goes white, but it has red rims. Obviously, my donor car does not have red rims, so I have red rims from a different car. These are good to go because I've got white rims and white rims. But the last few years I've been kind of collecting different colored rims in this little jar that I use, because sometimes my donor car doesn't match exactly what I need for the car. So I've got a couple sets of white rims in there, and the set of red rims was in here. So I kind of keep that extra set in there. Sometimes I have to take apart a car to get the rims and use that for a custom, and then use that body for something else. But yeah, again, the plan is always to try to make the car look as much as like the car that was driven on the racetrack. So that's my goal, and obviously also to do the very best that I possibly can. So yeah, so that's what's going on, and that's all I wanted to share today. Hope you guys have a great day and are enjoying watching these videos of how I make 1/64 custom NASCAR diecasts. So God bless.